Hello, 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 and welcome to day 508 of the drawing habit. Let's get it going. Yeah. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live stream. This is Pearson here. I am the number one live art streamer in the world, and I also have one of the best mustaches on live on Twitch, maybe. I don't even know. I'm not even looking. I'm probably I'm not checking it out. I'm not going around like, oh yeah, this person has a really good mustache. No. All right. Mhm. Do. No, don't like it. All right, so we're gonna get started. We're gonna get started here. Let's get things going right about now. So I'm just gonna be doing one last. I think today's gonna be my last day. I've given this kind of not a lot of thought, but I've given enough thought that like I'm just going to call this the last day. Don't really feel like I don't want to work on it more. I'm just going to cut my losses and pursue another drawing. I think I'm going to learn a lot more the next time around. And already this one's it's got I've gotten like I've absorbed whatever it is I was trying to learn in this one. So I'm just going to fiddle around with this eye here. And we're going to fiddle around with the eye. And that's it. I'm going to fiddle around with the eye. And if I get anywhere else, that'll be great. But I'm not going to really anticipate doing much today. I'm just going to kind of fiddle around with this eye and then maybe move around here. Maybe move to the other eye. Maybe play around with some like texture. Who knows? We will see where this kind of takes me. So, yesterday was kind of a lark. It's been a while since I've done these live streams, so I just don't know what to talk about. I never do. Never really have a lot to say. I'm just a very busy person in general, and I've been trying to figure out ways to keep going with this process, keep going and keep improving. And really what it boils down to is just doing it. I see all these amazing artists out there, and I'm like, wow, I'm not even like. Sometimes I feel like I don't even hold a candle to half these people, right? And a lot of it is not necessarily that I don't think they're like more skilled than me in some things. I think they just know like a lot of the tricks that really speed up these processes. And okay, maybe I'll give you this. I could say that they are probably more skilled than me in certain areas, but I could say that I'm more skilled in other areas. Like I probably have more experience in just doing lots of different things, and that's like a good and bad thing with art. Like you really need to be a little bit more specialized with art. I know people say, "Oh, you want to try new. It's okay to try new things," and I can agree to that to an extent, right? I can agree that yes, it's okay to play around and have fun, but I think all the people that you are like really are following on Instagram, on YouTube, they are highly specialized in one form of art. Be it portraits, be it figure, be it anime. They're highly specialized in one form of art, and I'm not really specialized. I don't really have like a set interest. I'm always kind of like a master of none with regards to my my art. I guess if I were to say like my interest, I'm probably the most gravitated towards like the figure and portraits. But also don't like to draw them for extended periods of time. Um, I think the things that I've spent the things that I spent the most time on have usually been like sketchbook work. I've always enjoyed doodling in sketchbooks. I think there's one of the reasons why is it's always been like a on a subconscious level. It's always been like just you, there's it's like low risk. Like there's no you can't mess up on a sketchbook. Like it's to me the sketchbook's like you're just it's just you're just studying, you know? And when you're just playing around and studying, you really can't mess them up. And so that's why I've always kind of enjoyed like sketchbooks. There's like this purity to them in my opinion. I always felt like I don't know, it just felt natural. Like this you just couldn't mess them up. And there was something nice about knowing that you can't mess up your drawing, right? Like I've in my sketchbooks, I'll have like a ton of garbage drawings in there. Like there'll be more garbage drawings than good drawings sometimes because they're just like doodles. And the reason why is because sometimes I'm not really thinking when I'm drawing. I'm just kind of like scratching around. You ever been like, whenever you're like on the, you ever go when you're like a class, you're taking a class that you don't really care for, right? And you're taking it and you're like scratching in your notebook. Sometimes you're just like scratching around, making little doodles. That's what I do in my sketchbook sometimes. I'll like just scratch. Not like literally scratch anything, but I'll add just I don't know, I'll just like fiddle it around essentially. So I'm just playing around with this eye and just practicing. Um, I need to watch more. Like, I just need to sit down and watch some videos on how some of the neat little tricks that some of these artists are doing these days, because there are some really neat tricks out there that I'm like, I really need to be knowledgeable in to really push these drawings to a whole new level. Yep. And so today is just going to be fiddling around with the the, uh, the brushes, or fiddling around with the eye, maybe move around. Um, I think this is going to be the reason why I'm doing this is I want to kind of train myself to kind of focus on areas, one area at a time. Um, because I got like this. I think a lot of artists have this. I kind of have like a little bit of like ADD in some sense. I'm like, oh, I don't want to focus on one area of my drawing at a time, right? I just want to kind of like move around and have a little bit of fun. And I think that works for like painting and drawings, like traditional drawings and traditional paintings, especially if you're doing like more of like a loosey, brushy type effects. Like you're creating some more like loose brush effects, you know. I think that works in those fields, but you know, in digital, like I feel weird bouncing around. I've never really felt at home bouncing around drawing digitally. I feel like I need every time I bounce around, what it happens, it just feels like there's a lot of areas that feel incomplete. So one thing that I have done in the past when I do these portraits is like every session I'll just focus on one area. Sometimes I treat it like a Xerox or like a print, like I'm printing, where I'll focus on the top and then I'll focus on the middle and then I'll focus on the bottom, and I'll just keep going through that. I'll focus on the top, middle, and bottom over and over again until I'm done. I felt that that's always worked for me in the past. Um, Not always, but it's always been a fairly efficient way for me to kind of move around the drawing. So I'm just going to be playing around here and kind of adding subtle tones. So notice the little simple little tonal change here. I really can't see it in this person's face, like the iris, but I'm kind of exaggerating. You know, I'm really exaggerating for this. And we'll go ahead and add some extreme highlights and contrast. There you go. Just kind of add a little like these like highlights here. In reality, those highlights are not that bright, but like that's just something I've been kind of seeing other artists do. Is like they like push the contrast of all of like the reflective light to kind of make it feel more realistic, you know, something like that. There you go. Now let's go ahead and very simple stuff, man. Now what I want to do real quick is I want to add another layer, and we're going to call it skin pores or something like that. And I'm going to use a different brush. I'm going to use these. I'm going to play around with this these brushes that I have here. So we have these like. I'm going to go back to my soft round in a second, but right now I want to go to get these skin brushes, and ooh yeah, we're going to play around with the skin brushes here. And that's another trick that a lot of artists do, is they use these like skin pore brushes that kind of oh yeah, that kind of create these texture effects. Although I feel like the skin brushes are way too big. I think this might be. There you go. I'm going to kind of play around with this. Oh yeah. Play around with these brushes here. Kind of play around with this. See, I don't know which brushes I should be using, which one of these skin pores I should be using, so I'm just gonna be playing around with them and seeing what size works, because so notice how it kind of like it still blends them, but it kind of adds like this rougher texture to it, you know. I wonder if there's something like this. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this like really bright. Oh yeah, I think that will really work here. Let's kind of put like a little bit. Something like that. So yeah, those, see that, now that's what I'm kind of looking for, because it kind of creates that skin pore effect that I'm looking for. But I don't know how much I should be using it and when it's appropriate. And that's one of the things that I'm not used to, is like using these brushes. Like when do I use these skin pore brushes, and like to what extent, what scale do I use them at? For because it feels like if I use them at any larger, it's just gonna get really messy. You know, and so I like some of it. I don't know how much I would use it for. Like right here is kind of nice where you use some of that, and maybe you can use this to kind of soften up everything. I'm just using a skin pore brush here, and just trying to blend things in differently, because it does blend. It just adds a little bit more of a toothy texture to it. So perhaps that's what I should be using a little bit more often, is using this skin pore brush after I get like these base like airbrush tones in there. What I do feel is happening is it kind of adds kind of feels a little bit more natural. We'll see. What I want to try to do is like use some like freckles. Interesting. Interesting, man. So this is all fairly new to me. Just playing around with these brush strokes here. Like that. And using a kind of like this. Just kind of playing around here. Get it to a level that I like. Zoom out here. So that looks okay, man. Like the blending of stuff. He's got like a blemish right here, and I'm not sure how much I want to kind of show. He's got it's like a freckle type thing, or a sunspot or something. It's like a blemish on his right cheek. I don't want to say it's a mole or anything, but it feels kind of like a blemish. you know. Yeah, I'm just playing around with this area. Just trying to experiment, you know, and see what I feel works. I think I'm just going to do this for about, I don't know, until it gets, I don't know, 20 more minutes and just call it a day. It's been a night, and as I said, I'm just going to keep it. I'm just going to, I don't know. I'm just going to, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm doing, actually. I'm just going to, like, let's see here. Let's play around with the eyebrows a little bit. Maybe add like the eyelashes. What kind of brushes are these? We're gonna do this, and we're gonna add like some eyelashes on his eyes. Just a few, like. All right, we're gonna, one second, we're gonna collapse this. I'm gonna delete that layer. I'm gonna add, nope. Delete the layer, and then we're gonna add another layer, and then we're going to, there you go, and we're gonna add some eyelashes there. Oh, well, we're gonna delete that layer because apparently the flow is off. Oh gosh. Now where's that brush? Huh. Okay. I thought it wasn't drawing anything, and apparently it was drawing stuff. So we're going to delete that layer again, because apparently, just delete it and add another layer, and then we're going to try it all over again, but only much, much smaller. Let's see if this works. I don't know why it's not drawing. Okay. We're going to try a different brush. We're not going to use that brush. I don't like what that's doing. Let's try this. I don't know why all the brushes are so big. All right, we're not gonna try brushes eyebrows. Let's just try something else, man. I'm having the worst luck. Okay, let's go back to this. And we're just gonna go on top of it. And we're just gonna play with the regular brush this time, using the soft round, and just kind of blend everything around again. that, and just maybe add a little bit more highlight right here. Let's kind of play around with this a little bit. Make it darker than it really probably is in person, and just to kind of add that realism that you're looking for, you know. So I can get the eyes pretty good, you know, just by fiddling around with it. Essentially, and that's all I really do is when I'm drawing, it's kind of like I'm just fiddling around. That's what I'm doing, just fiddling around with the drawing, and you know. Never know what's the best way to go about these drawings, you know? Oh no, don't do that. And I think I've done enough with the eye for now. Maybe I'm gonna move down a little bit, kind of move down his cheek like I did before, and just kind of added, like, you know, transitional tones that I think that need to be placed here. Something like that. Ah, there we go. So we're just fiddling around with it, hoping for the best, essentially. Usually that's really all that's like my, and then we're gonna start, let's kind of work on this ear a little bit. There we go, let's kind of make it seem like that, and then like that. It's kind of do this again. All I'm just kind of playing around today, and I don't have any goal with this for this drawing. Right now I'm just playing around, and then each time I do one of these, I get a little bit further along, and that's going to be my goal, is like get a little bit further, understand the drawing, how to apply these tones better, how to blend better. And then I'm probably going to start watching more. I need to start watching more of what all these other individuals are doing, you know, and try to emulate them a little bit. Try to incorporate what I feel I can achievably do. A lot of things about like art, like a lot of like drawing, we could artists sometimes, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, like I know enough to teach how to draw and stuff like that, but I feel like I don't know enough. And sometimes I feel like all these artists that are on these YouTube channels are just kind of spewing a bunch of baloney, you know. What I don't like is like these videos on YouTube, they're like, do this to improve. You know, I'm like, hey, listen, all you really got to do to improve is just keep drawing. You know, it's it'd be very hard to not improve to some degree if you're not if you draw. Yeah, there are some things you can do to expedite it, like you can research and look up other ways and 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 go do some of the shortcuts that a lot of these artists are doing. And I probably should be doing some of those shortcuts a little bit, but I want also feel that I need to understand how to not use how to not use shortcuts at first, and then when I understand the program, I will start slowly putting in those shortcuts. But right now, I don't feel like I earned the right to do that, like, cheat. I guess it's not. I'm not even cheating. I'm just using the tools to the best, to my advantage. But if I don't understand the tool that well, I want to learn how to use Photoshop in a more primitive manner before I jump into these techniques. And I'm not. It's not that I'm not using some of the techniques. I'm not going to depend on them at this point. I want to kind of figure out how I can add detail manually first, and then once I'm able to do that manually, I think it's just going to make me better at using the tools later on. If I can't add detail manually, then I'm overcompensating. I'm compensating with the program, and I really haven't learned a thing. And so that's why you're not going to see me do some of these tips and tricks often. But it really grinds my gears sometimes. You've seen like these videos on how to improve 10 things you need to improve. Like, all the information is there. Sometimes I feel like a lot of these people that are these aspiring artists, they want to like overly complicate things. They want to go to these YouTube videos, watch them, and feel like they're acquiring something. But I just want to say to them, like, listen, just sit down and draw. That's all really you need to be doing, is just draw. Draw as much as you can. Just do it, and then over time you're going to improve. I'm not saying not watch these videos. If they make you feel like you learned something, by all means. But sometimes the tips on those videos are not that good. It's like they're just trying to find a new way of telling things. I think the best people that I've seen there's some really good people out there, but also they're highly specialized. I think the most generalized ones, I know Proco, obviously, but there's another guy that's really, really good, and he talks about the stuff that I talk about a lot. Probably, obviously, he does it much more eloquent than me. I think his name it's Albert or something. I don't know. But he's really good. But I think people should really just, try to just draw. Or just draw. In the end, just draw. And not worry about whether you're right or wrong, or whether you're in the right, like you're improving. Like when I was younger, I was so stressed out about it. I was like, oh, I'm not improving fast enough, and that mindset actually bogged me down. It like, I didn't want to draw as much anymore, because I was like, well, I'm not as good as some of these people, so what's the point? They're already better than me, and there's no way I'm going to catch up to them in skill. Not that it was like a race or anything, but when you're younger, and you're dumb and naive, right? And you think about these things, and you're like, oh, well, this person's so much better than me. Why even bother? Like, I remember there was this one guy. My gosh, when I was in college, this guy was amazing. Like, geez Louise, he just so darn good. He's probably doing really well for himself, actually. But he was so darn good. But he was kind of a boring dude. In the end, though, I think he was a little bit jealous of me because I was very opposite of him. He was very meticulous with his execution, very, very detailed, and I was like trying to suggest form more than he was. And I was kind of leaning on, I was kind of like leaning on some of my, not like, I was leaning on that as a crutch, probably too much, and not trying to slow down and draw. I never wanted to spend a long time on my artwork. You know, it took me a lot. It took me a long, long time to really start realizing that I need to spend time on my artwork. And I never did want to. Like, I never wanted to. Like, I didn't have patience. Like, I look at students today, and I'm like, man, I didn't have patience back in the day, and I didn't have access to all this like all these distractions. You know, there's so many distractions out there these days, right? I didn't even have access to that, and I was struggling to pay attention to things, you know. So I'm like, wow, man, that's students today. They got a, you know, they got a hard deal. They got a lot of things working against them. Yeah, they got a lot of things working against them. Yeah, a lot of things are working against them regarding like the world. So I'm only going to work on this for about 4 more minutes, and I think I'm going to call it a day, you know? So I think this is pretty good, right? Like, I think this might be the level of like detail I want to kind of stop drawing. So like, this is just like, this shows that I'm kind of practicing. And as I said, I've already found out all the things I did wrong. Even though some of the parts of the value is really nice, everything else is like off, man. You got yeah, you got like I told you about the proportions. Like, his eyes are too small. I kind of extended out his cheek a little bit. I kept doing that too. Like, I think I probably had it more correct at the very beginning, and then I kept saying to myself, I think his cheek needs to be a little bit wider. And then I went too wide and didn't notice it, you know? I didn't notice how wide I went, and so I just kind of kept it like that. So my goal now for these live streams is just to be better. Try to get like actually have a goal. So like goal of improvement. So like for this, I'm going to be doing portraits for the most part, because I think doing portraits is one of the most challenging things I can do. I'd like to do figure drawings every once in a while, but I don't think I can partition my time. I think I need to focus on one or the other. And I think focusing on the face will translate to the figure as well, because I'm looking at relationships. It may not like be a direct transfer, but I think it will be a close enough that I can apply it towards figures, because I'm looking at relationships and stuff like that, and that's what one of the things you need to be paying attention to when you're drawing is looking at visual relationships, and you know, seeing how you can, I don't know. I don't know if I got that. No, yeah, that nose is a little weird. Anyways. go. Just kind of move around here. Oh, I'm tired. Just tired. One more minute and I'm calling it a day, man. So, really not much I can kind of do. Yeah. So pretty good, man. Pretty good. Nice little touches here. I probably got like 30 seconds left or so. But I think no, that's it. That's it for the day, man. That is it for the day. Yeah, that is it for the day. So actually not a bad study. Um I like seeing like the before and after. So you see a developed eye and then a not so developed eye, and I played around with the hair, the facial hair, and parts of the hairs here. Played around with the skin tones, and that's what I'm doing with these live streams. I'm going to be playing around and just enjoying myself and not taking it too seriously. Because I said that's where you get kind of in trouble, where you put drawing on a pedestal and then it kind of like bums you out, it bums you out, and that's what I'm not looking for. That I'm looking for just just take it easy and casually learn through the experience, through the drawing experience. So it's okay. I think that the whole left side, his right side is really nice. uh I as I said, the other side, I widen his face too much. And I think I was able to kind of mitigate that appearance on the left side. I assume that if I were to keep going with the portraits on the right side, like I might be able to make it less apparent through shadowing and value, but it's still very noticeable. Like those just that like giant cheekbone. Anyways, I gotta get going, man. I wish you all the best. I hope you have a wonderful night. Um, Hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll do another one tomorrow. Probably be a shorter one, probably be like 30 minutes or so. Something to kind of just keep going. And who knows, man? Who knows what lays ahead? And I'm looking forward to seeing the improvement. I'm looking forward to seeing if you ever have any questions on my process. But anyways, I want to say thank you so much. Really do appreciate you, and you have a wonderful day. Cheers. Where is it? There you are.